In today's news, cabinet decisions outlined in the House of Assembly, as well as we have things to do during this All Year's Night right here in the British Virgin Islands.
Governor of the Virgin Islands, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, wishes VI Islanders the very best in his final message for 2020, and LIAT conducts flights to the BVI 5 days a week. All this and so much more when 284 News returns. Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, December 31st, 2020. We're coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands, our very last newscast for 2020. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. Now, we are just so honored to be here with you on this last day of 2020. Boy, what a year it has been, Ron.
Indeed it has.
Now, according to the newly pinned Virgin Islands Dictionary by Kareem Nelson Hull, in the BVI, we don't call it New Year's Eve. We call it All Year's Night. And this evening, we have so many things in the BVI to do. And right here on 284 Media, we'll be telling you a little bit about some of them.
Yes.
As well as the demand for good governance, even if it means being called anti-BVI. These were the words of His Excellency Augustus Jaspert, a governor right here in the British Virgin Islands. And Ron, you'll be getting into that statement a bit later, as well as it's been an active holiday season for the Fire and Rescue Service, says the fire chief.
Of course, the BVI Red Cross, they have certified 7 under home care program, 17 persons who are now certified, which is exceptional news. And the volcanic activity causes concern among Vincentians here in the BVI. We have that story for you. Curfew among many of the other items in today's final sitting of the House of Assembly for 2020. And Garcia Johnson crowned Miss Anegada Ultimate Teen Queen 2020. These are just our news summaries, and today we get into our newscast.
Now let's go.
In a detailed letter, outgoing Governor of the Virgin Islands, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, penned his final end-of-year greeting to the people of the Virgin Islands. He began by saying, and I quote, "I hope that you all have had a very great Christmas, even though your usual plans and traditions may not have been possible this year. Nonetheless, this is a very special time of year, full of celebration and blessings. In the brief full between the joyous celebrations of Christmas and, of course, the excitement of New Year, I would like to share my 2020 reflections and 2021 hopes with you all." Now, 2020, he continued by saying, will go down in history as an exceptional year. For this, it has been a year when the world has been tested, from our economies to our public health to our ways of life. Many things we would have thought possible in 2019 have happened. Now, the British Virgin Islands has not been spared from the global pandemic that is COVID-19. Our borders have been closed for the majority of the year, which has placed significant strain on the tourism industry and on many family incomes. A number of people have been unable to return home. Some have gotten sick from the virus, and I am sad to say that one person lost their life. Now, while making, of course, mention of the challenges of 2020, particularly COVID-19, looking ahead, Governor Jaspert said, "But what about next year? What is in store for 2021? I hope that the vaccines donated by the UK will begin to roll out in the BVI on a voluntary basis. Health officials from Public Health England visited the territory a couple of weeks ago to assess vaccination preparations and plan an approach. Of course, not everyone may wish to take the vaccine, and we should be respectful of that. But I hope it will be the beginning of the end of COVID-19. Secondly, he continued by saying, I hope that the community can continue to have an open and honest conversation about what we need to do to build better governance, a governance that truly reflects BVI's values of integrity, fairness, and openness. There has been a great deal of conversation about this recently, and a number of individuals from across the community, businesses, and the public service have come to me and my office to raise their concerns. It takes great courage to have some of these conversations. Sometimes those who raise their voices are said to be against BVI. Actually, those who raise their voices are complete opposite. They are champions, the values, and championing the values rather, to help in our Constitution and actively working to make, of course, the BVI a much better place. Kyla, these were some of the words of our governor, outgoing governor, Augustus J.U. Jaspert, who has penned his final All Year's Evening letter to the people of the BVI. And it's very interesting. One of the things that I find interesting about not only this letter, very detailed letter and approach, is that once again we see where a lot of the issues that are facing the territory, that have always been faced in our territory, are now being confronted by the governor upon his exit.
Right.
And many persons would question why now, but this is how he has chosen to do so.
Most definitely. Now, Ron, in the House of Assembly just today, on the last day of the year, our legislators were in the House and speaking on some very important things, specifically some issues regarding COVID-19 restrictions as it relates to the curfew and as well as travel. Now, viewers, we have this video for you of our Health Minister, Honorable Carvin Malone. Let's take a look.
Cabinet has decided, in light of the new strain of COVID-19 prevalence in the United Kingdom, to implement a travel ban effective 11th January 2020 of persons traveling from the UK to the British Virgin Islands, except for nationals, belongers, residents, work permit holders, persons permitted to reside in the territory, diplomats, and persons employed by government and statutory bodies and agencies. Cabinet decided to implement a 14 days quadrant or quarantine period for all persons allowed to travel to the BVI under the previously mentioned exceptions, provided that they undergo an RT-PCR testing regime on days of entry, day 0, day 7, and day 14. Cabinet decided to use 20 positive cases as a trigger to inform a decision by Cabinet regarding travel restrictions to the territory, except for nationals, belongers, residents, work permit holders, persons permitted to reside in the territory, diplomats, and persons employed by government and statutory agencies. Cabinet instructed that the Attorney General Chambers amend Section 10 of the Public Health Order 2020 by extending the order to 15th January 2021. Let me just explain that. In terms of the Public Health Order, which expired today, which will expire today, it will be extended until 15th January and will come into force after review of that date. Mr. Speaker, I have said this before on many occasions that we do not and will not take these protocols lightly because it has been proven to work. We must be ready to make the hard decisions and implement what is necessary to keep the territory and the people's lives safe here in the Virgin Islands. Mr. Speaker, our public health measures work. Our entry protocols work. And now we as a people need to continue to do the work that make this successful.
Now, Ron, that was our Honorable Health Minister, Honorable Carvin Malone. And those are some important points coming out of the House of Assembly earlier today. And basically some of the things that he touched on was the fact that there will be a travel ban from travelers coming from the United Kingdom. And of course, this is because of this new strain that we've been speaking about all week. And since probably last week, that firstly originated in the United Kingdom. But now, Ron, that ban is starting on the 11th of January. Now, some persons might say, why all the way then? Why until then? So many persons are coming in
Correct.
within that time. And then also, too, we see where this strain is also popping up in other parts of the world as well. So just to ban the UK, I think we're just a bit past that at this point, but we do see.
One of the interesting things, Kyla, is that across the region, lawmakers have been, I think, really delaying decisions as
Agreed.
it pertains to what they're going to do with
This new strain.
persons coming in from the UK.
Right.
And here we see the government of the Virgin Islands finally making a decision saying that effective January 11th, there will be a ban. However, in that, he also mentioned about nationals coming from the UK.
Right.
They, however, are going to have to do the 14-day quarantine in the BVI instead of the 4-day quarantine. And I think
Basically.
essentially that's good news.
That is good news, definitely. And also the fact that in that clip, he did mention that curfew has been extended. Now, we know that the previous curfew order was up today,
Correct.
the 31st of December, and we see where it has been extended till the 15th of January. I know the residents of the BVI was hoping that for the new year, we would not be under curfew, but the legislators tell us
I think the
different.
most important thing when we look at our territory and we consider the importance of a curfew, I don't think it has been explained publicly since the inception. What is the point of having a curfew from 2 hours in the morning? It is what it is, but however, I think it needs to be verified exactly what are we trying to accomplish by doing this, especially now that our borders are now open to visitors.
Right.
What are we trying to accomplish?
Most definitely, I do agree with you, Ron. But tonight, sadly, viewers, you'll have to, as the clock strikes 12, you have about 2 hours to get home.
That's right.
But viewers, you have so much ahead for you as LIAT conducts flights to the BVI 5 days a week. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
The wind. Oh!
Twitter the hell
I'm freaking out.
Is high.
284 News.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin'? What's really good? What's happening? What's happening? What's up?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, the renowned regional airline LIAT has confirmed that it will be conducting flights 5 days a week into the Terence B. Lethem International Airport when it resumes its services to the territory on Thursday. Now, Antigua-based carrier said the flights in and out of the territory will take place from Thursdays to Mondays each week. In a quote, they said, and I quote, LIAT will operate a limited schedule as it works to restore services. The airline will operate flights 5 days a week to destinations across the LIAT network due to the downturn in travel due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as border restrictions. The limited schedule will provide both capacities and connectivity within the LIAT network, the airline stated. Now, airline officials were quoted by a local news site right here in the British Virgin Islands as saying that new measures must be followed by all passengers boarding the flights. In another quote, they said, and I quote, passengers must wear masks at check-in and on all flights. We will board with new boarding procedures to minimize crowding at the gates. We will also limit our in-flight service to minimize touching points. They also went on to say the airline has also implemented enhanced cleaning and sanitization of the aircraft as to reduce the risk of transmission of COVID-19 We will be strictly following these procedures of the territory that we travel to. Now, Ron, although it is limited service, we are happy to see LIAT back in our skies.
I agree.
Back to the BVI, and as things progress, things will get better.
I do think it is a step in the right direction, and of course, during the course of 2020, LIAT has faced much turmoil as it pertains to its leadership and financing, so we're happy to see them making strides, though be slow. Continuing on the international scene, believe it or not, police and federal authorities are investigating after Wisconsin Health System said an employee admitted to deliberately spoiling some 500 doses of coronavirus vaccine. Aurora Medical Center first reported that the doses has been spoiled on Saturday, saying that they have been accidentally left out unrefrigerated overnight by an employee at the Aurora Medical Center in Grafton. Now, the health system said Wednesday that the doses of vaccine now appear to have been deliberately spoiled. Police in Grafton, about 20 miles north of Milwaukee, said in a statement that the Department, FBI, and Food and Drug Administration are actively investigating the case. Police said they were notified of the alleged tampering on Wednesday night. Police said Thursday morning that no other information would be immediately released and declined to say if any arrests have been made. In a statement late Wednesday, Aurora said the employee involved acknowledged that they intentionally removed the vaccines from the refrigeration. Aurora said it has fired the employee and referred the matter to the authorities. The statement said, noting about a possible motive for action. They said, and I quote, "We continue to believe that vaccinations in our way out of the pandemic out of the pandemic. We are more than disappointed that this individual's actions will result in a delay of more than 500 people receiving their vaccinations," the statement said. Now, Aurora said it would provide more information on Thursday. Kyla, absolutely daunting news as we look across the world where persons are really relying on the vaccine, whether not everyone is willing to take it, and we accept that, but for someone to deliberately tamper with 500 vaccines is a major situation, and I think at the end of the day it shows us not only the torn attitude with the vaccine. Persons have their own qualms about it, they have their own opinions, but this is definitely a serious matter that we're going to be covering and watching closely.
Most definitely a serious matter as we continue to fight COVID-19. As you said, there's so much conversations as to should you take it, should you not take it, is it safe, is it healthy, so much conversations, and for something like this to happen is very daunting. Now, viewers, still ahead, so much news coming out of St. Vincent, as Vincentians here in the BVI are a bit concerned about the volcanic activity over in that country. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, you enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut fun people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. Now on to a regional story. Coming out of the volcano discovery, the University of the West Indies, a seismic research center, in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Organization, reported that visual observation on December 29, 2020 confirmed a new lava dome growth located on the edge of the old lava dome from 1979, forming a dome on the rim of a dome. Now, an effusive eruption of the volcano is accompanied with oozing lava and activity. This is, of course, out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which has caused much concern to BVI residents living who are from St. Vincent. The last eruption occurred some 41 years ago as the series of explosive eruptions ejected the dome and was replaced with another. Now, the alert level of the volcano was raised to an orange as an increase of seismic activity at the volcano, and it has been recorded since early November. Volcanic hazard map contains 47 zones: red, which is a very high, orange zone high, and yellow zone is moderate, green low, as can be seen in the image. Now, the warning bulletin states that these flows and lavas could affect the land area, including offshore, and the hazard zones must be, of course, monitored and could be extended for some distant offshore. Of course, Kyla, when this news first broke, daunting news, some 41 years ago, I think in reality it really shows the uncertainty when it comes to volcanic islands, and we see where this one in St. Vincent has, after 41 years, just developed and continue to become active. Of course, this has raised a lot of concern to residents from St. Vincent who are living in the BVI, which we understand family, friends, and loved ones who are away are definitely concerned, and we wish them the utmost of safety.
Of course, definitely daunting news, as 41 years, that's a very long time to be inactive, and then just out of the blue, there is some activity. We do want to wish persons over in St. Vincent the best and their best safety at this point.
Yes.
Now, Ron, we're going into the things to do for this new year, but viewers, you'll have to stick with us after this quick commercial break to hear all the things you can do for this Old Year's evening. This is 284 News, and we'll be right back.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, it is coming to the end of a year that seems like a decade now, Ron. 2020 is coming to an end. Now, we're unsure what 2021 has for us, but being able to sit here today is a celebration within itself. Now, many persons, unfortunately, has lost their lives due to the novel coronavirus, which we continue to fight with going into 2021. Now, although many things have been lost and many struggles have been endured, we live another day to tell the tale. As I've said all year long, Ron, we have to count the small wins.
Yes.
Now, viewers, how are you spending your Old Year's night this evening? Well, we're going to help you out just with some of the happenings that's happening here tonight. Of course, tonight will not be like other Old Year's night because, yes, we are battling with COVID-19, but there's many things to do right here in the British Virgin Islands. Now, over to Trellis Bay. Trellis Bay is always a big deal over in Beef Island. So they are having a celebration tonight. Big things going on, Ron.
And of course, Kyla, for the persons who may not have, who may have missed it, myself sat down with Molly Penn, the assistant manager of Trellis Bay Market, and there's an interview, a full interview, a video that you could view just to check out all their happenings. They're making a lot of preparations for persons, so make sure you support them.
Awesome. And you can span right over to Loose Mongoose if you're in the Trellis Bay area and you want to go over to Loose Mongoose. I know they have Extreme over there, and they're going to have so much to do over at the newly opened Loose Mongoose. Now, spanning over to Joss Van Dyke, where we have Foxy's. Of course, Foxy's is on a smaller scale this year, but they're still doing something to celebrate bringing in this new year. And on the eastern end of the island, we also have Hangover Bar. So these are just some things for the persons who just want to have a good time and ring in the new year, you know, with some music and some good vibes. Now,
of course, Kyla, our Tortola Pier Park, they're going to be doing quite a bit. That's going to be a hot spot as well. We have a number of restaurants, stores, bars that are going to be open, and the Tortola Pier Park is definitely going to be one of those spots where persons, I think, are going to congregate, of course, with social distancing protocols.
Of course.
But it's a happening area as well.
Awesome. Now, of course, there's persons who just want to go into the house of the Lord and just praise God for all that has happened and being able to.
It's a tradition.
That's a big tradition. So persons who want to go into the house of the Lord, of course, all churches, most churches have their praise parties and bring it in style, okay? So you can head over to your church or any church, to be a matter of fact, and just have a good time in that way. And of course, persons who just want to stay home and reflect on all that has happened, and basically also, you know, reflecting all that had happened and going into 2021 with some new and bright plans. Now, viewers, it is about after 6 p.m. or so, Ron. And of course, that's about a little under 6 hours until we ring in the new year.
Got a lot of time to figure it out.
So you have some time to figure out what you want to do. You can get dressed, you cannot get dressed, but we do definitely want to wish you a happy new year when it comes, of course, from the entire team right here at 284 Media. Ron, it's been a year.
It has surely been a year, and for our viewers who missed our year in review, we have the top 15 stories, which we covered earlier today, really dissecting the top 15 stories in no particular order, locally stories, everything from the governor of the Virgin Islands and the war between the administration. We have the one unfortunate death. There are a lot of very interesting concepts that we might have forgotten about that took place in 2020, but initially they really serve to chart the way forward when it comes to the trajectory of our history in the territory. And as we said, 2020 has been quite a year, but it's always been a pleasure to bring you our daily happenings, both locally, regionally, and international content. We thank you so much for sticking with us and continuing to be a full support, not only locally, but to our viewers regionally and internationally as well. It's always a pleasure.
And of course, as we close out this newscast, we will be right here in 2021 to bring you your local, regional, and international content. Now, of course, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. As I close out this year, I am Kyla Kenesha Ford.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. We will see you again on the other side. Have a beautiful rest of the day and be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.